Hello guys, you alright? Red Pill Phil. A big thank you to all new subscribers. I do believe I've touched over the 4K, which is absolutely fantastic. Quite humbling. Every time I hit one of the Ks, it just reverts me back to being sat in Portugal when I first opened the channel and I had 3 subscribers. So I'm very mindful of that. I hope people are resonating with the videos. Videos are all about opinions, freedom of speech. Everyone's got the right of freedom of speech. Not everyone's going to agree with my opinions, and I don't expect you to either. And your comments kind of justify that as well. So all I'd like to say is just have a listen, see what you think. So thank you very much to everyone who's taken the time out to watch it. Very humbled, and as the subs are rising, it's making me very proud, and thank you. So I do feel I'm kind of going in the right direction because people do seem to be resonating and liking what I'm doing. So a big thank you to you all. Right, okay. This video, wolf whistling could become a hate crime as sexist criminals face stiffer sentences. Right, so this is probably to all my female subbers, really, and probably the male subbers. You know, it's a divided debate. How do you feel about it? Personally, I'm not one for wolf whistling. I'm a happily married man. I don't wolf whistle at the wife, as it were. The wife, on occasion, will leave for work, while on occasion when I've been at home, and she has been known to ring me back within 10 minutes and say things like, oh, this white van's just passed me and he's just bibbed you on, you know. So my wife doesn't appreciate it too much. For me, I like to be a little bit more chivalrous, have a bit more dignity, be a bit more polite towards women, and just approach women in a not like I would approach a man, just be nice. And that probably for me is the way forward. But at the same time, can you justify a criminal sentence for actually wolf whistling? In the world that we live in now, I think that subjects are very heightened. Where the lefties are taking over, so everyone seems to have an issue, whatever you do, whatever you say nowadays. And there seems to be all kinds of litigation now that if you do this, you do that, you're wrong, you're out of order, which is quelling what previous generations just regarded as normal life. I do get that some women may not appreciate it, but at the same time, I have been in the company of women that do appreciate it. I've been in the company of women that will do pretty much exactly the same thing to men. I don't take offence to it. Have I had it done to me? I can't say I've had a wolf whistle. I've had the odd comment over the years, maybe when I was a bit younger. Me personally, how I feel, I can't deny, it puts a bit of a smile on your face. Not that I turn around and go, oh, I like that, and then start moving forward with it. No, but everyone likes to be appreciated, but not every lady sees it that way. Some ladies can feel quite intimidated by it. If there's a group of guys that are doing it, I can understand why they don't appreciate that. So, you know, it is a personal thing. However, is it on epidemic levels where we have to start brandishing criminal sentences? I don't think so. Personally, I have been, with the way of the world is going now, women are very much under severe peer pressure to dress a certain way, to look a certain way, and a lot of women love to do that. Some women go further than others when they're actually doing it, and, you know, quite rightly so. I mean, me personally, there is nothing better than the female body form. So I appreciate a woman that has presented herself well, looks after herself, and I don't see anything wrong with a man appreciating a woman who has made an effort to look good. However, like I say, I wouldn't show that appreciation by doing a wolf whistle. But I have been in the company and I've walked past and I've noticed women that have done a cheeky little smile when they've had a wolf whistle done to them, because deep down they do kind of think, it validates that they do look good. But like you're saying again, I'm not saying, oh, well, every woman should just deal with it. No, there are certain scenarios, but I don't think it's of that severity where we need to go there with it. So everyone's got their own little opinions, and I'm sure the comments are going to dictate that as well. In this case, it's Nottinghamshire Police introduced a trial which recorded incidents as hate crimes. So can you put it as a hate crime? That's a big thing, to put it as a hate crime, along with being racist and saying racist comments, being derogatory, and saying hateful things towards another. Is it a hateful act to wolf whistle? The very definition. If a man is wolf whistling to a lady, then surely he's kind of showing his appreciation for how he is probably attracted to that lady. Same again, I'm not saying you should deal with it, get on with it. Everyone deals with it how they want. Some people like it, some people don't. But I don't regard it as a hate crime in my experience, really. The way things are now, we've got films, we've got music, we've got the media, TV adverts everywhere. I'm actually looking at this webpage now, and as I'm looking at it, there's women that are idolised as like sexual symbols. They're dressing like that also. You can go out to any town centre on a Friday, Saturday night. You see women that are scantily clad, running about. Not that I feel, well, let's wolf whistle, but you will get some minority of gentlemen that will do that. Now, some women may appreciate it, some women may not. But then the role reversed, as if to say, from the man's perspective, is, well, if you're going to kind of dress yourself up in that manner, what's wrong with me showing my appreciation for the way you look? I've seen women that will kind of get the baps out, they'll do all kinds of manner of things. I've been in the company of women that will make gestures towards males. It's one of them. We're in that world now where I wouldn't say you've got the ladette culture, but you've got a culture of women that are more empowered and do enjoy and do like making comments about the opposite sex. It's something, it's a human instinct. And I think what these are trying to do, the establishment, the left, are trying to quell that instinct. By doing that, you're setting a dangerous precedent, really. Me personally, I'm 47 years of age, so give it another 20 years, I'll be probably pushing a Zimmer frame round and I won't really give a shit, because, I'll probably be in some care home, kind of being grumpy and moaning about the way of the world. It's the younger generation that you feel for with scenarios like this now, because this is their norm. So to me, if the younger generation don't wake up to what's going on, before you know it, the world is going to be a place where men and females will not be able to communicate with one another for fear of upsetting. Probably people feel that already with certain political correctness and this, that and the other. How far do you go? Once you do this, the old courting thing, is that going to be affected? If you're in a nightclub and you kind of gaze over to a girl kind of willingly and all that kind of stuff, is that going to be pushed towards a hate crime because you're encroaching their visual space? It is getting to kind of ridiculous proportions, in my opinion, just because I grew up in the 70s where you didn't have any of this. So, I do feel that we're touching dangerous ground here, particularly when you're talking about sentences, I'm a chivalrous kind of guy, so I still, even though it can be misconstrued. I still, when I walk through a door, whether a male or a female, I will leave that door in order for the next person to follow through. Now, there's nothing more that pisses me off when the person who follows through doesn't show gratitude for that, you know, whether it be a male or a female. I do get quite grumpy about that because I feel, you know, you've got to show a little bit of respect. You know, I've stood there waiting for you to open the door and you've not shown any gratitude, you know. But at the same time, you will get some women that will regard that as a sexist act, when in reality, is it sexist? You know, to do that, to just be nice. There's a lot of misconstruing that's going on with what is the new norm, and the left are portraying it all more and more, and they're portraying it in colleges, they're portraying it in schools. So once this rolls out, it's going to roll out to the younger generation that you should be affected if someone does this to you. So that psychologically is going to send that to your next generation. So, I mean, for me, it's all on the parents about educating your kids. Not to say, you know what, kids, you know, you should love wolf whistling. No, but just put it into perspective. Unless you're put in a dangerous scenario, which you'll always try and warn your kids about, certain dangers, certain elements. Don't put yourself in situations if you feel intimidated, this, that and the other, how to act, what to do, what not to do. But, you know, it's getting to levels where, where's it going to stop, you know? I mean, imagine, for instance, you've got boxing matches. I'm not a big boxing fan myself. I'm not a big UFC fan myself. I find it quite aggressive and blah blah blah, but that's just me with my wimpy ass. So, you know, that's just my opinion. Many males love it, many females love it. I've seen many front row of a boxing match when it has been on, and there's a lot of women that are getting up and showing their love for it. Yeah, I get it, you know, just as much as men. Now, I don't know whether it happens too much now because I don't tend to watch too much boxing, but years previous, you used to get the ladies that be scantily clad walking round, you know, round four, and they're walking round the ring. What happens? You get a cascade of wolf whistles. Now, would that woman be offended by that? Because by very nature, she has got that job because she looks good. Yeah? Sex sells. We are in that world. The media manipulates that. So the media can manipulate it all you want, but then don't you dare react to it. Otherwise, it's a criminal offence. So it's hypocritical right down the line, you know. F1, I'm not a big lover of F1. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just not a lover of it. But the same thing again, you do see a hell of a lot of women kind of, you know, showing the curves, showing the wares. I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. You know, I happen to totally appreciate the female form. I'm that way inclined. I'm a happily married man, so it's not that, you know, my eyes wander all over the place. But if a lady is presented in front of you, you do appreciate, oh, well, she's a pretty lady. Oh, my word, you look nice, this, that and the other. It is a natural instinct. So if that lady in that scenario, you know, when she's bending over a car, washing the car with a little batty riders up her arse, do you not wolf whistle? Or you're not supposed to appreciate the female form? Because that's how you're presenting it to me. But I can't say nothing. Is that the way it's going? I just don't get the logic. But I kind of do get the logic when we're in a world of the 1984 where people cannot express themselves anymore. It's almost like society wants you to walk round with your hand in your pockets, face down, don't interact with anyone, don't speak to anyone for fear of doing this, don't say anything nice for fear of doing that, don't leave the door open for fear of doing, you know, and it's like, where do you go? It's getting lunacy for me. I can see it being quite comical in some ways. I can see some geezers maybe wolf whistling and then just ducking into bushes just in case anyone turns around and sees that geezer's just done that, you know. Now, the main point is, you could flip this now and there would be a spike in the system. So if this was to, because what they're looking at, they've done trials and they are literally liaisoning in order to roll it out nationwide. So this will happen without a doubt, because we are in a liberal system that they will push it because they're trying to justify that. Now, what happens if a Muslim was to wolf whistle at a lady? What would happen there? Would they be known as sexist? Would they face criminal charges? Or would they slip under the net under political correctness? So, food for thought, I don't know. But with everything else, you can see what happens. So I don't know for sure. I just think it's an absolutely silly world that we're living in. The more that I'm existing in this immoral world, as it were, the more I want to set up a little crowd fund, and in order to amass an island called the Common Sense Island, just to get the frig out of here. Because things are getting crazy to the point where people are not even going to be able to go out the door, you know, for fear of upsetting somebody. You know, they say there's racism in the clouds. You look at the cloud's white. Oh my word, that's racism. Drinking it. Oh my word, milk's white. That's rape. And that's where we're going. Things are getting so ludicrous now that I worry for my kids. That's my biggest fear. I worry for the world that my kids and your kids are inheriting. So it's a case of education, which is difficult when they come back from school having been indoctrinated into believing all this shit. And then you have certain conversations with them, and not so much that they believe all this, but you've kind of got to reverse indoctrinate them to kind of instill a bit of common sense. So I don't know where we're going with it. I mean, can CCTV be used retrospectively to kind of go, well, I had a wolf whistle on Smith Street, so can you get the CCTV camera up to find out who actually done it, you know? And I do agree that some guys do take it too far. Some guys do act like they've got no brains, and they've got to be careful, you know. Some people, some guys do take photos of women as they're walking down the street, which is wrong, you know. You can't be doing that. If you're going to take a photo of a lady, at least be decent enough to say, do you mind if I have a selfie with you? You're the most prettiest girl I've seen all day. And you never know. She might just agree to it. She might tell you to go and... Exactly, you know? And then you know where you stand. But the one thing you don't do is take little secret, discreet photos. And then if you're approached by that lady, she actually catches you. And she says, do you mind if you delete that photo? You've kind of got to respect her view in a way. Because I won't want people just taking random photos of me. Although people have got the right to film outdoors. So this is what I mean. It gets so dodgy and such a murky grey area. No one knows what the hell to do anymore. Apart from stick your hand in your pocket, don't talk to anybody, and whatever you do, don't pass compliments, because if you don't word it right, if you say the wrong thing, if you refer to a certain thing that can be misconstrued, then this is what's coming your way. You could be up in a dock, you know? And then what happens if you're regarded as sexist? Are they going to have a sexist offenders register that you've got to go sign because you're a serial sexist person that can't frigging help but wolf whistle? You know, men are full of testosterone. I mean, that's gone back eons, isn't it? You know, so men have got to hold it in check. But there is, you know, men are men, women are women. women, to a certain degree, like the fact that they are an attractive being and do go out their way to become an attractive being. So you've got to be careful where you go with these kind of laws. And we are getting in Sillysville. So that's Red Pill Phil giving his little 2 pence on the subject. Just don't wolf whistle, whatever you do. If you want to wolf whistle at me, I'm fine, I'm all good with it. I won't be reporting you. I won't be asking for CCTV footage. So don't worry about that. Although my wife might find it, might have a different view on the subject. But I'm an appreciator of all human beings that look good and that look bad. It doesn't really matter. We're all human beings. So we need to instill a bit of common sense. So if you want to start a crowdfund to have that common sense island in the middle of the Maldives, I'll put a tenner towards it without a doubt. So this is Red Pill Phil. Hope you resonate. Like and subscribe and share. And thank you very much. And a happy, happy Christmas to all. Thank you for listening and you take care. See you now.